requires essentially one, the Cochrane library, the Cochrane database, because that has got the maximum collection of trials. It includes M-based trials as well. Second is, if you only look at Cochrane also, that's good enough because it contains M-base. The problem for us in India is that Medline is free, PubMed is free, but M-base you have to pay for. So you may not be able to access M-base unless you've got an institutional subscription. And there are very few institutions which have M-base. But even otherwise, you're doing a non-Cochrane review, we say we search the Cochrane library, we searched PubMed, and we searched the Indian trial registry and stuff. That's enough. They'll be happy because most of the time, the Cochrane library, the Cochrane database will have all those trials.
So just in continuation with this, do we need to use the same search strategy for all the databases, or we can modify the search strategy?
You have to modify it because what Central has and what PubMed has and what Embase has are different Boolean operators and different things. PubMed has a tutorial you can easily learn. Cochrane also has a tutorial. Embase you probably need a librarian to help you with.
Okay, sir. To add, sir, Dr. Aarti G, that's not her full name, but do you feel that a broader PICO question is better than a very narrow, precise PICO for academic systematic reviews?
It depends on how broad. So if you say psychotherapies for the treatment of mental health conditions, you will never finish it and nobody will ever read it. So most of the time, it's better to start with a more focused question and then do the next review on the next question. So you get very clear answers from each, much easier to do, much more precise results you'll get. So if you want to look at different kind of antibiotics for the treatment of a particular condition, there could be multiple sort of antibiotics, different names, different classes, then different doses have been used against each other. So it becomes very, very complicated. Ask specific questions. Fluoroquinolones for treatment of this, easier to do.
So in
that context, can I just add? I'm Dr. Aarti again. I have felt that while we are doing academic systematic reviews within postgraduates, the more finer and precise the question is, the difficulty we're finding is in finding studies even to meet those questions. That is the difficulty I have practically found. When I say broad, I don't mean extremely broad, but when I go more and more precise, particularly in
can you give me an example of what you mean by broad, so I'll know what you mean?
When I'm saying narrow, for example, the difficulty I find is with narrow. Suppose I'm trying to find out in case of a situation where we are trying to find out whether a proximal, I don't know if you'll understand the dental aspect of it, sir.
Try me.
Yes, sure, sir. But we are trying to find out whether there's going to be a difference between proximal box elevation in teeth as compared to no proximal box elevation in teeth. So the proximal box elevation is something that we do in the class 2 in a situation where there is going to be caries on the proximal side of a tooth. So when it becomes as narrow as that, I found that I am not able to get as many studies. I wonder whether I've asked the wrong question.
No. You are asking the right questions, very common question. Not a question of many studies. You are asking a question and you're looking to see, are there any studies?
Yes, sir.
Any studies, how good are they? And what is the result from these studies? Next time when I'm doing the grade assessment, you will be able to say, do we have enough evidence to say that you don't need to do any more research on this?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Right.
You keep that in mind. Next time, one of the things the grade quality of evidence tells you is, you will get, if you say high quality evidence, it means you are going to get the same result and you don't need to do any more research on this question. How can you?
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think there are a few questions coming from two more important questions on the bottom. I hope they can be addressed as well.
Can you read them for me? I can't.
Yes, so it's about the importance, how important it is to have the MESH terms.
Mesh terms.
The mesh terms, yeah.
Now, mesh terms are useful because mesh terms are standardly used in PubMed and Cochrane library. So you search for the mesh terms, you're not likely to make a mistake in the way you're entering it. So mesh terms are very, very useful to use. And the Cochrane library has got mesh got to mesh directly as well.
And they're also asking about the ghost data for systematic review and meta-analysis.
I don't know what ghost data means. I know what
It's a question by Dr. Pratibha, if she can unmute herself and ask.
Yeah, what is a ghost? What do you mean by ghost data?
Yeah, sir, good afternoon. Ghost
Hi.
data is unpublished data, sir.
Right. No problem. See, unpublished data and published data are all the same as far as Cochrane reviews are concerned. In fact, we want you to look for unpublished data. But what we do is we will evaluate in the same way as published data, risk of bias assessment and stuff. And we will also perhaps correspond with the authors more frequently to get more details, because if the gross data is not clearly described, you may need more information. But yes, sure, you can use unpublished data, not a problem.
Oh, thank you,
If you feel that you are a little uncertain about unpublished data, one of the things we can do, and we'll discuss next time, is in the meta-analysis, you've got 4 studies published and 2 unpublished studies data. When you put the result, you see, are the results the same in published and unpublished? If they are very different, then you remove the unpublished data and see what happens to the overall result. Does it change? If it doesn't change, it doesn't mean that that's bad. Reasons sometimes people don't publish data is because they got what they call a negative study. It's not significant. Now, the problem is if you only pool the results of positive studies, you will get positive results. You have to put the negative studies to get a balanced result. So I would encourage you to look for unpublished data.
Okay, sir has raised hand. Sir wants to speak something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I am raising this hand on behalf of, I think, most of dental people. And I am still myself perplexed, and one particular participant has also asked this question. It is not directly linked to you, but it is directly to the dentistry in general, that when we go into mesh terms, we find very limited terms when it comes to oral health. So who decides mesh terms? How we can contribute? I mean, this is a question which I'm facing every day, problem, and most of us are facing.
I don't know the answer. I'll try and find it out for you. And next time I can mail it to you, because I'll search. I'll ask people who might know.
No, okay, we will also try. But I thought maybe you know it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Because this is what is the. I do not know if other specialties face the same issue or not. I don't know.
You mean in terms of the procedures or in terms of conditions? Conditions
conditions usually are because in dentistry things are evolving much faster in terms of new terms coming up. So they adopt technology very fast, and they start using new jargon of words also faster, and most people want to know about new procedures, effectiveness of new procedures. And before they actually appear in mesh terms, they are already prevalent. That is the big issue. The issue is actually.
Okay.
I think sir can take it to a higher level, that mesh terms should be updated, actually, because many of us are facing problems for mesh terms as well.
So let us get together and find out how we can do it.
Let's find out how these things are done, and then we can.
Yeah.
But remember, the world is yours. You are the future generation. Don't depend on us. We've all retired.
Yes, that's right.
Sir, your experience will always be there to guide us, so that's what we want.
Okay, no problem.
Sir, there's one more question remaining
Sure.
regarding the oral health registration for Cochrane Group. So, is that registration open for Cochrane in the oral health group?
I haven't checked, but it's very easy to check. Just go on the Cochrane library, or go to the cochrane.org, look at the group, and then send them a mail. Are you registering?
Okay.
Lately they were not taking up new reviews.
I think COVID has affected everybody.
Yes, lately they were not taking, but maybe something changes in near future.
But my suggestion is just use Cochrane methods. All the other journals are publishing. You do the review.
So I've already been doing it with this particular.
Good.
So I've already been publishing in this.
Excellent.
I just wanted that I should progress to Cochrane, so I was asking. And one more question remaining by Dr. Neeta Sharma. Dr. Aman, will you be taking up the
risk of bias?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave you a link. in the document to all the instruments you can use to assess risk of bias in observational studies. So when you get your copy of this, just look at those links. There are instruments on specifically looking at risk of bias in observational studies. They are not as simple as doing for randomized trials, because you have to design those elements according to your study.
Sir, before we close down, I would again like to apologize. Maybe 100 people are waiting to bash me up because they were not able to log in. I'll update it. I'll upload it as soon as possible, so that people are benefited. And I will formally invite Dr. Deepika for a vote of thanks now, so that we conclude, or at least so that we can upload it.
Sure. It was nice being here. Thank you very much, and be safe, please.
Yeah, right. So on behalf of the whole team, I'd like to really thank you for such a crisp and informative talk. This subject is such that it intrigues us. We all do reviews, but the correct way, like, simple, small things personally, p-value and its clinical importance. We all know about the statistical significance, but the clinical importance, those pointers which you gave were amazing and we really benefited. I'm sure everybody did. And thanks a lot for joining us today. And we're looking forward to having you with us next Sunday. I'd like to thank, Dr. O.P. Kharbanda. Sir, it really means a lot that you joined us. It's, the kind of encouragement and support you've provided us throughout this lecture was really great. And thank you so much. Again, we're looking forward to having you in all our, lectures henceforth. It's really now you've made it like a habit for us. So please be there with us. I'd like to thank, and express my gratitude to Dr. Goria. Sir, this lecture series is possible because of the support of INPEFO. We do it under the aegis of INPEFO. And thank you again. You've been there with us from the beginning, every lecture, every Sunday morning. Thank you so much again. I'd also like to thank Professor Emilio from Italy for his partnership of AFOHR, and Professor O.P. Jasuja and Dr. Neeraj Grover for the ISCFI support. I'd like to thank my team, Dr. Aman, Dr. Priyanka, and Dr. Pooja especially. She helps us with all the background work, all the data collection, the certificate management. So thank you, Pooja. Most importantly, thank you all the participants. We've had an overwhelming response, and I want to apologize again personally for that YouTube link not working. We'll try harder that next time it works perfectly, but technology is something that, sometimes even we are helpless in front of it. So thank you all for being there with us. A special thanks to Dr. Hari Prakash, who has joined us. We can't see him, but he's there with us. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Deepika. A wonderful presentation. I enjoyed it. I listened it from. I congratulate Professor Kharbanda, Priyanka, yourself, and the other people. Thank you very much, including me in this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, each one of you, for being there, being so attentive, and staying through, till the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you next Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Priyanka.
Thank you so much.